Here we are. Our first actual class here at the Academy. No more hazing rituals and combat quizzes, I hope. The basics of magic. The building blocks on which all glyphcraft is learned properly. This class is called Fundamentals 1. It's our homeroom class. Supposedly, it covers how the whole thing works and what goes on that we can't see. Then, armed with that knowledge, we can better understand and manipulate the arcane powers we've only now been toying with. This is where magic becomes an art form. Now all we have to do is learn how the sausage is made. Should be easy. I've self-taught myself enough to be able to cast since I was a child. All those pages I've ripped from the books of mages who were unfortunate enough to leave them unsupervised in my sight. And this could be a good learning experience for you too. If you don't get caught following along, that is. Now, we're going to learn some essentials in this class, so paying attention is integral. It'll give us a better understanding of the craft so that we can evolve our powers faster. Again, this class is a foundation, and without a foundation you can't build magnificent towers. And darling, my tower will be the most grandiose that any eye has ever seen. Call it ambition, but I call it the inevitable future. I will be the greatest of my time. They will build statues of me next to the first Supreme Magister Seldrin Dorhasi and the Great Magister Saul Talasar. But to win the game, you have to start playing. So let's begin this journey. From the lowest of students to masters of the mystical arts, I will prove that even the most powerful can be overcome, and you will prove that even your brackish blood cannot hinder the ultimate power that resides inside that bestial soul. Let's use glyphcraft to shape the world. No, come on. That's all the motivational speeches I have in me for the moment. It's time to learn. Class, take your seats. As you know, this first lesson of any new class is the basic fundamentals of glyphcraft. Listen well, for this will be your lifeline and may very well determine if you'll be staying with us for the entire semester. If you cannot comprehend the fundamentals of this magic, you cannot become a mage. Not under my tutelage. Magic is reserved for a reason. Anyone can cast, but only mages can master. Now, with that being said, let us begin. There are the obvious aspects that anyone can see. You paint the shape, you say the words, and then you have a spell. In this class, we will dig deeper into why that happens, and how you will be able to play a bigger part in that chain of events. So, to begin, all of the shapes that we call glyphs are taken from divine symbols. Shapes that the mages of old described as being on the bodies of the very divines, and the like. But if humans were to attempt to use these incoherent shapes in their raw power, they would surely die. Therefore, research showed the founding sage Seldrin Dorhasi that if the shapes were altered to weaken their power to less than even a fraction of the original capacity, and making it resemble nothing of its former power and shape, humans could harness these symbols to conjure arcane powers for themselves. These are what we call glyphs. By chanting the name of the element that the glyph describes, the symbol would then conjure that very element before our eyes. This discovery was paramount to the development of Alvec in its elder days. Now, the entire country revolves around this discovery. Now that you've gotten the history lesson, time to explain the how. What makes this possible? Let me show you. This is what we call the filter diagram. Magic is just a transmutation of energy from one form to another. In the end, it is the creation of something from the energies of the world around us. Most everything alive has energy. In our paints, we use plants to make them. Ergo, the plant has the natural life energy. And that is what we pull from to be transmuted. Picture this. The energy we use is this shapeless, formless mess. Nothing of note. But when you draw a glyph and say its name, you force this formless mass of energy through a filter. The filter being the glyph symbol. As it exits the other side of the filter, it changes into whatever that glyph tells it to. Say you cast a water spell, Rivus. The energy from the paint would pass through the glyph filter and turn directly into water. Say you make a more complex spell, like large fire blade. You would say each word, Infernia Magna Sebar. And as you say each, you're ushering the energy through these different filters to create a more complete and refined result of what you desire from this spell, until you get a large, flaming sword at the end of it. Now, this entire interaction is invisible to the human eye, but it can be felt by those sensitive enough to the energies of the world around them. That is because the human soul is used as the conduit to transmute all magics. It is the power source that is able to transmute other power sources. By using the words of the old tongue and the shapes that we have found through years of study, the human soul uses these components to change every aspect on an intrinsic level of that energy. And therefore, mankind is able to cast glyphcraft magic. Along the same line of thinking is that if humans can cast, why not have bloods or animals? It is because of the soul. Humans have the prime soul for channeling arcane energy, while creatures like animals or half-bloods do not. This is where ring theory comes in. Think of two rings interlocked. The soul is one ring, and the energy for spells is the other. A human soul is perfectly round ring. Therefore, the interlocking ring is able to glide around its circumference with no hindrances. This makes casting easy for most humans. While that of an animal, or half-blood, well, whatever they have in place of their soul, is more jagged and sharp, not human. The interlocking ring is unable to glide around it without getting caught or hung up. Therefore, those of the beast persuasion are mostly unable. However, there have been rare instances of half-bloods being rumored to have cast spells. These are, however, just rumors and cannot be proven. Therefore, casting is the birthright of all humanity. It keeps us closer to the gods. Now, with the information I have given you, we will spend the next hour conjuring basic spells using any base glyph of your choosing. I will be grading you on your performance, so impress me. You may begin. Very good, Miss Deandra. And using a darkness brush, no less. That will do. Mr. Kana, I would like to see more from you than just the waving of your hands and this ink spilled all over your book. We will need to revisit this. And what of you, young Master Fane? Please, grace me with your glyph craft. Very well. Windus. What do you think of that, Preceptor? It appears you have been practicing. Good. But your spell was weak. Yes, it was pretty, but the flair for the dramatic will not work with me. I need real results. You pass, if only by a little. Carry on. And here I was thinking I was just going to sail through this class. Apparently not. No matter. He wants strong? I'll give him strong. Well, that was rather enlightening. I feel as if I know a bit more about glyphcraft than I did yesterday. And hearing it from the mouth of a skilled magister makes it all the more knowledgeable, rather than stealing it from some grunt mage's grimoire as a kid. I should experiment with this. See what more I can do, equipped with this new information. Oh yeah, I should also start thinking about a fraternity, and if I want to attempt to join one. Yeah, fraternities. They're student associations that can garner one some pretty big benefits if you're able to get in. You see those senior students that walk the halls with those large golden links hanging from their cloak lapels? Those are the Golden Chain. They're the most sought-after fraternity in these halls. It's comprised of all the high-ranking nobles and mages' children who can get in because of their noble natural talent and legacy lineage. All of the Deandras, the 5 sage families, the upper nobles of Akan, Thesla, and Pentioch, yeah, they all got students in that fraternity. I'm pretty sure as the child of a Lord of Montel, I would have little issue getting in normally. But as a Fane has never walked these halls as a student, I'm already suspecting there are some hateful eyes from the senior mages that think I'm not necessarily wanted here. The majority of the student council is comprised of them too, save for a few. The next one is the Ninth Tower. They formed a fraternity of common folk or low-born who showed enough promise to get in on scholarships. Happens more than you think. Since there are some prejudice from the highborn against commoners being in the academy, they banded together and created a little fraternity to give the commoner mages resources to succeed. They wear the silver pins with the tower icon on them, and are named after a Vec historical event where mages of lower birth were sort of forced to study in a secluded tower in the mountains called the Ninth Tower. It's kind of like a slap in the face to all the bigwigs. In that regard, I kind of appreciate it. Then you have the Blade Tongues, which are your dude bro mages that focus the majority of their power on combat magics and physical magic hybrid combat technique. Most of them graduate to become Justiciar mages, or even more rare, they get offered the opportunity to cross-train as an Inquisitor. They're the sweaty ones with the icons of the 3 swords of the book on their robes, yeah. I'm sure Yuri Bernhard is aiming to join them. That's a no for me, yeah. Then finally, you have the Eternal Road. Just another way for the Merchants Guild to stick their greedy little fingers into one aspect of normal life. It's basically where influential merchants send their kids with good brazier exam scores, and they eventually get corralled into this frat. I'm sure our little friend Kodakana is getting inducted there as we speak, seeing as how his father is a pretty well-known jewelry artisan. Also, a no for me. I need influential magic connections and strong hidden secrets to become the mage that I want to be. No doubt, I'll have to try the golden chain. But that's for tomorrow. Tonight, we need to practice some more spells. My preceptor wants to see something good, so we have no time to waste. And the stronger I get, the stronger you get as well. Let's go. We don't have an eternity to become the mages that we want to be, now do we?